So I absolutely love it when I am in tune with the universe. It doesn't always happen, but I was this time. Amy first told me that Alan and Josiah were going to be singing, and what it was that they were singing, I thought, oh great, I'm going to talk about happiness and joy, because how can you hear music like that and feel anything other than happy and joyful? I was so excited about it, and then I started tuning into, Facebook, my world, and not really, part of my world anyway, and my Facebook page was filled this week with videos and quotes and everything about happiness and about ways to be happy. And then I was checking in with some of my colleagues, and they too were going to be talking about joy and happiness today. So you'd almost think that there was like one mind at work here, right? And I think one of the reasons why it may be up for us, why it may be really present for us, is just as Lucille alluded to, life seems so serious right now. I mean, you got the political stuff, and you got the economic stuff, and you got health challenges stuff, and you've got relationship stuff, and you got weather stuff. It's easy to get sucked into it all and to believe what it is that we're hearing. And because our teaching is what you believe is what you see or what you experience, then it really can seem, if we allow ourselves to get stuck in it, it really can seem that there isn't much to be joyful or much to be happy about. Now, of course, that isn't true, but it just seems as if it is. As I often say, there is always more to be happy about than there is to be sad about. Always. So my intention today, obviously the universe's intention as well, is to get us to change the conversation, to switch our focus from what appears to be true, that there isn't a lot of joyful stuff happening, back to the truth with a capital T of what is true, and that is that happiness is our divine birthright. It is in our spiritual DNA. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said this: there is an irresistible, universal, and divine urge within us to be happy, to be whole, and to express the fullness of life. An irresistible, divine urge to be happy. The challenge is that this divine urge to be happy, which is this super high vibration energy, comes butt up against the low vibration energy of looking at all the things that are wrong in the world and in our lives. And because, folks, I'm reluctant to say this, we're a little bit lazy. We're a little bit lazy. And because we're a little bit lazy, it's easier sometimes to give in to that lower vibration energy than it is to have the discipline to train ourselves to raise the energy up. Am I right? Yeah. Or maybe we have trained ourselves. Maybe we really do live in that higher vibration energy, but we don't want to appear too happy or too woo-woo to the people around us, so we keep it under wraps. We hide it under a bushel so that we can blend in with our surroundings. Well, I don't know the rest of you, but I'm sick of it. I am sick and tired of living in an unhappy, gray world when I know to the depth of my being that what we really live in is this amazing, colorful, beautiful world that is alive with possibility and potential, and we can choose to live in it. Yes? So you know me. I like I'm a bit of a wordsmith, so I like to look up words to get like synonyms for it, or to get the actual dictionary definition. And this is what I came up for happiness: contentment, pleasure, gladness, cheerfulness, bliss, and delight. They all sound good, don't they? Breathe them in. Let's go. Breathe it in and go, ah. We're talking about you guys. I particularly like the word bliss because it sounds like bless. But what else I notice about these words is that almost all of them, not every one of them, but almost all of them describes an internal state of mind. And yet, how often do we allow outside circumstances and people and situations to determine whether or not we're happy? It happens for me. It does happen for me. When I look at someone else's life and I determine that mine is lacking. They're prettier, they're younger, they're thinner than me. Their home is nicer than mine. Their career is going better than mine. They get asked to go and speak at really cool places. They get to travel to exotic locations. They have more money in the bank than I do. They have kids and grandkids to keep them happy, who love them. And they have loving relationships. Oh! How did that get there? Day that we might talk on happiness, yes? That's my relationship, folks. So you get the idea, right? And sometimes, I'm just talking about me today, okay? Sometimes I will look at an outside circumstance and I will allow myself to become depressed and feel sorry for myself about it. And other times, I'll look at someone's successes and I'll be genuinely happy for them. So what happens there? What's the difference? Why am I sad sometimes when I see somebody's life going really well? And why am I glad sometimes when I see somebody's life going really well? Well, it goes back to the training that I talked about a little while ago. When I'm in that low vibration energy and I'm seeing the world as against me, or certainly not for me, it can lead me into a state of sadness and comparison and unhappiness and envy really quickly. And because that's where my energy and my attention, my focus is, then that's what I'm going to continue to experience. I'm going to experience things being hard and people not being kind and things appearing and opportunities are going to pass me by. That make sense? Yeah. However, when I am in that high vibration thinking, that I am trusting the universe and I'm trusting my place in the universe, I don't have that sense of comparison. I don't have that sense of envy. Because I know that I am absolutely supported by life. And that its desire for me is to be happy and healthy and joyful and fulfilled. And because I'm up here in this vibration, not holding it above everybody else, but this is my consciousness, this is my energy, what happens is that it appears that life is easier. And people are nice, and opportunities make themselves available to me because that is how I am seeing the world as a happy, generous, and fulfilling place to be. Ernest Holmes had a lot to say about happiness. I had so much trouble choosing quotes. This is when he said, "When we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. We must learn to come under that divine government and accept that nature's table is ever filled. Never was there a cosmic famine. We must learn to trust the universe and we will be happy, prosperous, and well. In other words, the universe never, ever, ever withholds anything from us. Its mission, its goal, its desire is to provide us with everything that we could possibly need to be fulfilled and happy. However, and this is the kicker, folks, it can only provide to us what it can provide through us. It can only provide to us what it can provide through us. So that means if we're hanging around in that energy of unhappiness, that universal law of cause and effect can only express from there. So it wants to express from this happier, higher place, but it can only flow through the filters that we provide it with. So if our filters are ain't it awful and life stinks and it's not fair, then that's what will continue to show up over and over and over again, because those are our filters. It can only come through the filters that we provide. It's not that the law is being punitive. You're not being punished. There's not some pissed off guy in the sky. It's that it cannot give us anything other than what we are willing and able to accept. So that means that when we train ourselves to consistently be in that place of optimism and that place of expectancy, then those become the filters that the law expresses through. Is that making sense to you all? Yeah. Love this quote by Maharishi Mahesh Yoga. Happiness radiates like the fragrance from a flower and draws all good things toward you. Right? Happiness radiates like the fragrance of a flower and draws all good things toward you. Now, folks, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying that. I know that there's stuff going on. I do. I also know that some of us deal with depression or melancholy. As I said, I myself have a tendency towards it, honest to goodness. That's why I work so hard at what I do, because I don't want to stay there for very long. And what I have found is that even though I still go to those dark places sometimes, and I do, I got some feedback recently that there were some people who were disturbed that I share kind of not my process, but I share my humanness. Yeah. And you know what? It's the only way I know how to teach, is to tell you what's happened for me and how I got through it. Because otherwise I'm just telling other people's stories. That's why I tell my stories. Because it's how I know how to get the point across. So when I go to these dark places, and what I know is that because of the work that I do and because of what I continue to do, I know that even though I go to those places, I don't stay in those places as long. Does that make sense? And I don't go there as often. Because again, I have worked diligently to change how I see the world and how I see my place in it. I know that I'm a beloved of the beloved. I know that. I've come to understand that I live in a universe that is here to support me. So when the melancholy hits, I do what I need to do to remember the truth, even if it takes me a little bit of time. I found this quote yesterday, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but it's just lovely. It says, happiness is not a destination. It's a way of life. Not like, my life is going to be perfect when I'm happy, or I'm going to be happy when my life is perfect. How about I strive to be happy in my life with the hills and the dales and everything else, because happiness is a way of life. So one of the best ways that we can train ourselves to be happy is to practice gratitude. I know that sounds like a platitude and really, really obvious, but you know what? As I was writing this, I thought, you know why sometimes things are really obvious? It's because they work. They're obvious because they work, right? It's a little, I know. It's a little bit like, duh. So we're going to practice a little bit. If you guys will indulge me, we're going to practice. We're going to just show how we can shift energy like this. Are you willing to play with me for a minute? Okay, close your eyes for a minute. Be brave. Because I'm going to ask you to think about something that makes you feel unhappy or causes you stress. Now don't worry, I'm not going to leave you here for very long. Just go there. Just go there for a minute. And focus on that unhappy something or that stressful something and feel it. Let it occupy your mind for a minute. And without doing anything with it, just notice the energy in the room. Now let go, let go. To the best of your ability, let it go. Come to a neutral place. Take in a deep breath. Do ah. Now bring to mind something or someone that makes you happy or causes you joy. I'll put up another picture of Annie if you'd like. No, I'm just kidding. Think about something that makes you happy, that causes you joy, something that fills you with gratitude. And allow that feeling to be real inside of you. Let it come flooding in. Let the joy, the happiness, the gratitude, picture it. Feel it. Hear it. Experience it. Now feel the energy in the room. And other than carry, now what I want you to do is to try to switch your focus back to the unhappy thought. Try to do it. It's not so easy, is it? That's because our minds can only entertain one thought at a time, and we want to stay with the one that makes us feel good. Am I right? Yes, okay. So when you're ready, open your eyes again. Very simple illustration, obviously a hilarious illustration for some of us, about how quickly the higher, happier thought and feeling can prevail when you allow it. But it can only work if you want it to. Raymond Charles Barker, in his book called The Power of Decision, wonderful, wonderful book, talks about people who are chronically unhappy. Anybody know any chronically unhappy people? My mother. She's not here, is she? Okay, good, thank God. Because she'd be really happy about what I'm about to say here. People who are happy in their unhappiness and will only be happy on the negative side of life. You know those people? For whatever reason, they get a big payoff about being unhappy. They get a big reward or payoff. So Carrie obviously knows somebody. Anybody else? I can think of one or two in my life right now. And they're in my life right now. We might be related, married, somehow involved, work with them. But the truth is, we don't want to be those people, especially as we are endeavoring to live a happy way of life. So if we have those people in our lives, then what we need to do, because I'm not saying like divorce them or get rid of them or walk away from them necessarily, I'm just saying, if you have someone like that in your life, you need to consciously counterbalance that energy by spending time with happy, joyful, awakening people like you find here at the center. It's true. Now, one thing that I invite you to bear in mind is that contrary to what you think, other people don't really make you happy or unhappy. Oh, you make me happy. Or, oh, I need somebody so I can be happy. Or I need this house, I need this dog. I need this so that I can be happy. Other people and other things do not make us happy. It is how we respond to the situation that makes us happy or unhappy. It is a matter of energetic resonance, because it's a matter of what frequency, of what resonance do we want to be spending our time in. Do we want to be feeling happy or unhappy? Sad or joyful? Melancholy or grateful? The choice is ours. The choice is ours. So I want to close with another quote from Ernest Holmes. Like I said, his writing just really inspired me this week. It was every one I read, I was like, oh, I'll use that one. Oh, I'll use that one. Ooh, ooh. So I narrowed it down to just a few, and this is the last one. The spirit is neither sad nor depressed. If you would catch the vision of the joy which should be yours, you must dry your tears. You must lay aside your fears. You must think from the inspirational center within you, which is nothing less than the divine in you singing its song of life. So let's go within for just a few moments and contemplate that vision of joy and happiness and trust, which is our divine birthright. And then we'll hear the divine singing through our guest artist once again. So just allow that, first of all, feeling of peace to come over you. Allow yourself once again to find that vision of happiness, that feeling of happiness. Breathe it in. I'm going to read that Ernest Holmes quote again. If you could catch the vision of the joy which should be yours, you must dry your tears. You must lay aside your fears. You must think from the inspirational center within you, which is nothing less than the divine in you singing its song of life. What song is the divine longing to sing through you? The song of happiness. The song of life. Song of joy. It is your song. It is unique to you. And it is yours now. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to this room, back to this place. And prepare yourselves for the That's all I'm going to say is prepare yourselves. Please welcome again Al Desire.